came from the kind of international development world. I studied foreign service, which essentially translates as diplomacy. And that's really had a big influence in the way that I come to the table, in that I try to make sure before I even reach out to somebody that I understand the context that they're operating in. Context matters a lot. So what are the challenges that they're facing on a day-to-day basis? What keeps them up at night? What worries them? What are they trying to build? What do they want to be known for? So like really understanding that about the stakeholders that you have to build trust with, and then going into conversations in the know, it was really important to me. Building an understanding of the business. So just at a very high level, I mean, Katie, you might remember that part of the materiality, I've lost sense of the order of operations and how we did these things, but part of the materiality process was mapping out the value chain. And
Right.
part of the reason I wanted to do that is because it's very difficult to understand the business if you can't see it clearly as a whole and then figure out where the influence points are. So doing that helped me understand the business. It brought everybody on the same page about how I understand the business, we understand the business. And then that is a real enabler of conversation about where are the pain points. And so understanding the business in that way is really important. And then I think obviously relationships are critical. So figuring out how to connect people by understanding them, but also then finding ways to connect with them personally, understanding who they are as people, what motivates them and drives them. I bring that to the conversations and the relationships that I'm building. Um, and then I guess I would say the other big piece of that is just patience. So
Hmm.
if I were constantly, or any CSO or equivalent was constantly pushing an agenda, that would rub people the wrong way.
Right.
And the reality is that, real change is going to take time. Building the consensus that you need for that change takes a lot of time. And so just being patient with people and with myself, and with the team about that, and the fact that timelines change. Those timelines are very much out of your control. And so learning to kind of, yes, read tea leaves about, at least to the best of your ability, about where things are headed, where the company is going, what the priorities might be, but also not get too caught up in the perfect solution, because you're going to have to pivot very, very quickly when it doesn't make sense all of a sudden, is a big part of how I think the work needs to get done.